Okay, we're going to be taking a look at writing algebraic equations and more specifically formulas. As you are kind of reading this, if you want to pause the video, you can. You don't have to copy this whole entire algebra activity, but definitely write down the definition of a formula, which is an equation that states a rule for a relationship between certain quantities. And we're going to practice this by doing the formula for surface area. If you actually had a box, a rectangular box that you could cut apart, what you could do is mark each side of the rectangular box with the length, the width, or the height. And again, length and width are kind of interchangeable. The height is usually how tall your box is. And then if you could cut it out so that you have all of your surface areas. But what you would normally do is write an expression for the area for each side of the box. So let's say that this is the front of the box right here. Okay, so if that's the front of the box, then how do we find the area of this front? Well, in this case we have the height and the length. So next to, for our expression, we're gonna multiply the height and the length, and we're going to use a cursive L for length so it doesn't look like a number 1. Alright, so if we have a front, we also have the back, and that is also going to be the height and the length. The height times the length. Then for the left side over here, which you can't really see, but it's going to be the width and the height. So here's the width and here's the height. So if we wanted the area of this side that we can't see, that is going to be the width times the height. The right side would be the same thing. We have height and width. So we're going to do the same thing here, width and height. And then the top, here's your top. And it is the length and the width. So we're going to do length times width. And that means the bottom is going to be length times width also. Alright? So that takes us to number 7. The surface area of a rectangular box is the sum of all the areas of the faces of the box. So let's say S is going to represent the surface area. Write a formula for the surface area of the rectangular box. Well, we have an HL and an HL, so wouldn't that be 2 of them? So 2 times HL. Remember, this is a sum, so we're going to be adding. So that's the surface area, or that's the area of the front and the back. We have 2 WH's, width times height, so plus 2 times width times height. And then we also have 2 LW's, or length times width. So it'd be plus 2 times length times width. Alright, so that is our surface area. We're going to use, and we can just say equals S. So here is our formula. It works for any rectangular prism or rectangular box. So if that's the case, if S, let's take a look at number 8. If S represents the length of a side of a cube. Now again, you have to think of what is a cube. It's a square, or it's a box with all sides being the same. Write a formula for the area of a cube. Well, if the area of a square is S squared, well, how many sides are on a cube? Well, that would be 6 of them. So 6 times S squared would be the surface area of a cube. Okay? Alright, so let's check that out. Alright, so here is a screen print from math.com, and if you look at it, here is the surface area of a cube, just so you know that I'm not making this up. It's 6 times A squared. They use A instead of S. And here is the surface area for a rectangular prism. They used A and B and C to represent the height, width, and length, which is defined right here. But it's 2 times the length and the width plus 2 times the length and the height times, or plus 2 times the width and the height. So again, and they're interchangeable as long as you are taking the 2 sides and doing that. All right, so writing a formula. Another one you can practice, here's an easy one, is to do the perimeter of a rectangle. Well, if you have length and width, you know that you have width on the other side and length over here too. So if you have 2 L's, that's where 2 times the length, and you have 2 W's, and here's 2 times W, and you're adding all that together. So you can come up with a formula for the perimeter of a rectangle is just 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, whatever your length and width happen to be. All right, so here are just some generic equations. So 3m plus 5 equals 14. Well, if you wanted to write that as a verbal sentence, it would be 3 times m, because they're giving you m as the variable, plus 5 equals 14. So it's just taking what we did before and we're just turning it around. So instead of having the English version and writing it algebraically, you have the algebra version, you're writing it in English. Here's another one. The sum of w and v, which is right here, equals the square of y. Or you can say y squared. So there's some different variations you can do saying these, but it still comes out the same way. All right, so how about writing a problem based on the information given? So if we're going to represent Raphael's age as A, and Tierra's age is 5 more than Raphael's, then we come up with the equation A plus 2 times the quantity of A plus 5 equals 46. So when you're given this, what problem can you write based on this? So if you know that A represents his age and A plus 5 is Tierra's age, the equation adds A plus twice A plus 5 to get 46. So here is a sample problem you can write. Tierra is 5 years older than Raphael. That comes from here, Tierra's age. Raphael's age plus 5. The sum of Raphael's age and twice Tierra's age equals 46. How old is Raphael? So here you go. Here's Raphael's age, and the sum of twice Tierra's age equals 46, and then you can ask how old is Raphael, because you haven't done it yet, but you can solve for A and find out how old he is. Alright, so practice this. You can stop the video, translate each equation into a verbal sentence. So how would you write this in English? A and B. I don't want to read them out to you because then I will be giving you the answer. So when you're done with this, go ahead and continue the video because the answers will show up next. Alright, so you should have had something that said something to the effect of 12 minus 2 times x equals a negative 5, which is basically just reading it out loud. For B, something along the lines of a squared plus 3 times b equals c divided by 6. Alright, how about writing a problem for this one? F is going to be the cost of the fries. F plus $1.50 is the cost of a burger, and your equation is listed there. Go ahead and write a word problem that would match that equation, and then go ahead and continue on so you can see the answer. Right, you should have had something along these lines. If the cost of a burger is $1.50, $1.50 more than the cost of fries, 4 times the cost of a burger minus the cost of fries equals $8.25. How much do the fries cost? All right, here's some practice problems. Again, if you continue the video, the answers will show up, so you can check your answers, and we'll discuss this more on your quiz tomorrow and throughout the rest of the chapter. All right. Here are the answers, and we are finished.